Well, guys, thank you so much for turning to this brand new video. Something just insane happened on Fox News. A Fox News reporter was cut off mid-sentence, live on air, while reporting what Caroline Leavitt's husband, what Press Secretary Trump's husband whispered to her right before the shooting. And Fox never brought her back. It's really strange for me. First of all, have a look at this clip, guys.
I'm not done asking questions about last night's White House Correspondents' Dinner, and neither should you, because at this point, we already know what is happening. Donald Trump is using last night's events to push his woe is me victim mentality and to strip your rights and
Do you believe President Trump is gaining sympathy after this incident? And this is not the first time he's facing this assassination attempt. I think it's the third time. And now a lot of people say it's fake. You will literally see comments under this video as well. People are not accepting this as a real incident.
spend your money on a ballroom that nobody needs. And the mainstream press, as stupid as they are...
Yeah, ballroom. President Trump is very excited for the ballroom. And now he got kind of excuse for, completing the ballroom. And for sure, he will complete that as soon as possible now.
Are happily going along with it, praising Donald Trump, and even going so far as to mysteriously remove a host from air when she was telling a very important, very uncomfortable, and very strange, maybe more than a coincidence, piece of information that came from Caroline Leavitt's husband about last night and the events that we saw unfold. We are going to get to that moment on Fox in which a host somehow just went off the air. It was very weird mid-reporting. But before we do, I want to start with the other spin that we've seen happening. Not just Fox, but of course CBS. And Margaret Brennan saying this to Jamie Raskin, who shut down her lies and attempt to give Donald Trump credit, of course, before we get to Fox.
The president, I want to make sure that I recognize what he said, because we don't hear him speak this way very often. He said, I asked all Americans to recommit with their hearts, to resolve our difference peacefully. And he talked about being unified with members of the press.
Yes. Well, that certainly, that's a new message from him. That's great. He had called the press, of course, the enemy of the people, and he's been engaged in a lot of lawsuits against your profession.
Yeah, he always called, he always called the media enemy of Republicans. He called them fake news. He criticized the media, ABC, CNN. He hates Democrats so much. It's kind of a political violence. And the question is from where it's coming. President Trump hates so much, especially the Democrats. I don't know why.
Well, yes, we are going into this politically charged midterm season. There's going to be campaigning around.
By the way, what are your plans about the midterms of 2026, the upcoming midterms? Have you voted for President Trump in a previous election? Let me know in the comment section.
Country with lawmakers out there. I mean, does something change? He said this. Does something change? Does Democratic language need to change as well?
Well, we have said all along that we need every politician in the country, every leader in the country, every citizen in the country denouncing political violence across the board, regardless of where it's coming from.
Yeah.
I find this a welcome change in rhetoric, but what happened last week? They brought a lawsuit against the Southern Poverty Law Center, whose whole purpose is to investigate violent right-wing extremism in the country, and now they're prosecuting them for having used undercover agents, which of course the FBI uses and the government uses all the time.
I so appreciate Jamie Raskin, not just in this moment, but also earlier today with Dana Bash. Sitting there like stunned, which I think is the best response you can give to these hosts when they're, I guess, expecting him to jump in and say, oh, well, dear leader, what a great job he's done. And we love him so much. And then he cares about the press. He said one nice thing last night. As Jamie Raskin said, Donald Trump has previously called the press animals, dogs, enemies of the people, treasonous. Words that you use when, as the leader of a violent movement who supports violence, whether it be carried out by the State of Israel, whether it be the illegitimate State of Israel, whether it be carried out by our own war crime-loving Secretary of Defense, his entire government. Yeah, Donald Trump loves violence. That's why he's killed Americans in the street for protesting, and it's why he uses those words against the press. So I don't really have a lot of sympathy. This is not unexpected. This is what we get when we have Donald Trump. But the media, with one nice thing, oh, we have to lower the temperature. And if Donald Trump says that, then all his sins are forgiven somehow? It's weird. But it's not as weird as what happened last night, right? And to me, that starts with a clip of Carolyn Levitt on Fox before we get to the moment around her husband and a reporter mysteriously no longer being on air.
Rumble, is he not?
He is.
Now, first of all, listen to Caroline Levitt. She is predicting something that just happened right there.
Ready to rumble. I will tell you, this speech tonight will be classic Donald J. Trump. It'll be funny. It'll be entertaining. There will be some shots fired tonight in the room. So everyone should tune in. It's going to be really great. I'm looking forward to hearing it.
Now, everyone is talking about that clip, and rightfully so. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, shots fired. This is just something that, like, I don't know, we're so flippant about gun violence in this country that shots fired, you know. We've said that it's kind of funny talking about gun violence. And maybe that's a little bit of an overreaction for me. I don't know. We're still in this moment. But for her to say in the building, it's just weird. It's all very weird. And the fact that the event last night, which of course was canceled, and rightfully so, no one needed to be there if it was unsafe, people were potentially traumatized, so on and such. The fact that an event that was supposed to honor the journalism of the Wall Street Journal for covering the cover-up of the Epstein files was canceled, and now Donald Trump wants to have an event 30 days later to praise him, and it kind of all seems like it was projected out before, is very interesting. Especially because Carolyn Levitt said that, and her husband, reportedly, said this on Fox before the reporter was mysteriously cut off. Fox's Aisha Hasni, Carolyn Levitt's husband, leaned over, she said, and told me right as the White House Correspondents' Dinner was starting, you need to be very safe. He was very serious when he said that to me, and he kind of looked around the room and said, there are some, and then the call drops, as we'll see in this clip.
So he was already aware of that something bad is going to happen. I can't believe, literally, I can't believe this news. Do you believe he really said that? How he already know that? That's really very concerning.
Reporter sharing this reporting about Carolyn Levitt's husband, and then the call drops.
I want to just quickly tell you, I was sitting next to Caroline Levitt, the press secretary's husband. He was one of our guests. He was seated right next to me, and right as the dinner was starting, the national anthem happened, and then he kind of leaned over and said, I watched you on TV, you do a great job. You need to be very safe. And he was just very serious when he said that to me. And
he was very serious at that moment, and that line is very concerning. How we already know that? Is it coincident? Like, what do you want to say? What do you think? And did you really know that what is going to happen right after moments and that happened?
Kind of looked around the room and he said, there are some.
He looked around the room as well. Remember this.
Sounds like we lost Aisha's phone there. And this happens, by the way, especially when you have so many people attempting to utilize the same cell service at the same time. I did want to add this. While we had a moment, I was just...
Very weird, right? Maybe a little bit more than just very weird. Extra strange, uncomfortable, nice coincidence, huh? You're in the middle of talking about this little tidbit of information that Carolyn Levitt's husband gave, that you need to be very safe at this dinner, and then something breaks out right after he says that, and when you're reporting it on Fox, on the Fox propaganda outlet, somehow...
One of the favorite news networks of President Trump, Fox News, and she was cut mid-sentence. That's really strange.
Your phone stops working, they cut you off air maybe, and a lot of people have said that. Okay. Maybe a lot of people, a lot of reporters in the room, a lot of texts being sent, a lot of messages. All right, this all makes sense. Call drops. Maybe get her back on air. But that's what didn't happen. That's the most interesting thing here. If you say okay, just the call dropped. It dropped at a very convenient time, might I add. Seems like Fox kicked her off. Seems like Fox didn't want any conspiracies about the night. Because that's an interesting little tidbit, huh? And if they had wanted to know more, they would have brought her back on air.
Yeah, she never came back till now. And that's really, very concerning. Can you believe Press Secretary of Trump, Caroline Leavitt's husband, he was literally talking about the situation before that happened, before that shooting happened, and he was already know that something bad is going to happen at that place. He was warning. He was saying, please be careful. We need to be very careful here. He was looking around. He was very serious. That's insane. He already know that. So what is your opinion? What do you want to say about the statements of Press Secretary of Trump, Caroline Leavitt's husband? How he already know that? And is it a coincidence? And what just happened right here? Aisha was cut mid-sentence and she never brought back to Fox News. That's also concerning. So what is your opinion? Please let me know in the comment section, guys. Consider subscribing if you're new to this channel. It means a lot to me when you click on the subscribe button, and I'll bring more important videos for you. Till then, please take care of yourself and please take care of your health as well. It's really very important. It's important more than everything right now.